Hi, this is Jeanette Larson. Over the last 15 years, I've worked with people in therapy to help them create solutions to the problems that they have in their lives. The problem has been, most of the time, therapy is not what these people are needing. They're not mentally ill. They just need skills so that they can create the kind of life that they want to have. Therapy didn't supply that, and so I created Growth Unlimited. Growth Unlimited has a proprietary practice that helps people create the kind of life that they desire. That's what this presentation is all about. Hi, I'm Jeanette with Growth Unlimited. We're doing a series of videos on the way people handle crises that occur in their life and the different roles that they play to do it. In this video, we're going to be talking about people who play the role of the victim when they are facing a crisis and trying to find a way to handle it. You know, victims are something that I think all of us recognize quickly, but the interesting thing about playing victim, and that let's define that first. Someone who is a victim is someone who feels like the situation that is happening is totally, completely controlling them. They have no access and no way of taking any kind of charge to make anything better. They typically see things as really, really bad and only going to get worse. And they feel powerless. They feel totally hopeless and unable to make any changes. And so they feel like they have to look to somebody else to solve the problems for them. Now, this here again is another role that most people consider very, very negative, but the people who are playing the victim role are people who are actually getting a gain out of doing it. And so let's look a minute at some of the gains that people may get by playing victim. First of all, if you play a victim, you don't have to take any responsibility for anything that you might have done that could have caused the problem to be a situation you're having trouble dealing with. That makes it easier for people who are struggling with things like self-image and things like just simply not wanting to take responsibility. So that's the gain. Now, the drawbacks of being the victim are that it does take away even more of your power than you're giving away. Because the longer you sit in that victim role, the less power you do have in your own eyes and in the eyes of other people to take control of your life. You're going to be discounted a little more by other people. You're going to be pitied. You're going to be not thought of in a very positive way, so your integrity suffers very thoroughly. And you just simply you seem like you're totally, completely ineffective and completely unable to help yourself. And this has a tendency to make people a little impatient and a little frustrated with you. At first, they may reach out and want to help, and you may be getting support in areas that you wouldn't normally expect to get support in, but it's all done with watchfulness, and people begin to wonder if you are milking the system and doing your best to get even more for nothing than you've already gotten. It just leaves a very negative mindset in the minds of the people that you're dealing with. And as this happens, one of the things that I've noticed happening to people who are playing the role of victim themselves is they lose self-esteem. So you're not only losing your personal power, you're losing yourself. You reach a point where you don't have any identity of who you are. That is something that you can feel good about. And then it just keeps going downhill from there. This is one of the roles that, while it may be a role that has to be played temporarily, it needs to be extremely temporary. Because if you want to take control of your life, what you need to do is find a way to find whatever level of power you have when you're feeling victimized, so that you can begin to act on it and start regaining that personal power, so that you no longer are a victim eventually. And it's a long road sometimes to travel. It's a tough one to travel, especially when you feel totally and completely inundated. Examples of people who play victim are homeless population. When you see somebody standing on the street looking penitent and downtrodden and picked on, and they hold a sign in their arms, and they give, as the sign talks about, a sob story about how they're starving and they're hungry, and we as citizens do want to help these people, but everyone I talk to gets to a point where they say, okay, fine, let's help them, but let's see them do something that's going to help themselves too. And it just doesn't seem to me to be a very productive thing for anybody when somebody decides to use the role of victim. But it is something that, like I said, there are some gains, at least temporary, that I can see that can make a difference for the person who chooses to play that role. Now, better practices are, one of the things that I always work with clients to help them do is to create a plan for their life. Because what you need to do, first of all, there is, in any crisis, in any situation, you always have choices. People who choose to play the victim role choose to play that victim role. It is a choice. And they also have the choice to stop playing the victim role and start moving forward and creating the control that they want to have in their life. And recognizing that you have those choices, and then putting those choices with being able to plan ahead so that when you see things come up, you can put yourself in a place where you do have more control. Another thing that really helps is if you can be a little more flexible. One of the things I've discovered for myself over the last several years is that many of the ideas that I had about what I wanted to do and what I wanted to be and how I wanted my life to be are struggling, especially over the last couple of years, because of things that have happened in the last couple of years. But the thing that makes the difference for me, and the thing that people tell me that they feel like they're amazed at when they look at, is that I never quit. I never stopped trying. If I decided I felt like a victim, there have been many things in my life that would have left me standing on a street corner with a sign in my arms too. But I'm not willing to do that. That's not a place I want to go, and that's not a place I'm willing to allow to happen. And so what I do is I use the initiative, and I use the fight, and I use the power in myself to keep fighting back and finding a way to resolve the situation so that I don't have to get to that point. People who choose to play the victim role eventually reach a point where they give in to being a victim because it's just too much and just too hard, and they cannot continue the fight. And this is where grit comes in, because no one owes anyone else anything else. The rights that people talk about are not rights. They are privileges. The rights that you have are rights that you make for yourself, or rights that were given to you by God. The federal government, or the philosophers in your generation, or the people that you see on a day-to-day basis who tell you it's your right to do something, are misleading you. Because unless you're willing to do what is necessary to make it your right, it isn't your right. And if what you do violates any of the God-given or earned rights of any other person, you don't have the right to do that either. So stop being a victim. Don't put yourself in a place where you are a victim. Plan ahead. And then when you feel it, you begin to feel the victim feelings coming on, take a look at what your power is and what you can do to change it. And then fight ahead to make it happen. That's the way people live life. And that's the way successful people have the kind of lives that they want to have. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe and share it with your friends. And be sure when you subscribe that you click the notification bell so that you'll be notified of future videos in this series and in other series that we put out. I'd like to hear from you. How do you feel about victimization? Have you felt like you were a victim? Do you feel like you're a victim now? And what did you do, or what do you think you can do to change that? I'd like to hear from you. So please put your comments in the area below. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye now. Hi everyone. You know, we have an interesting time going on in our lives right now. 2020 was a horrible year for many, many of us. And all we wanted was something better coming forward. Now we're into 2021 and we're halfway through the second month of the year. People are beginning to shift a little bit, it appears. They're beginning to look like they want to take control of things a little bit better. I'm feeling a little bit more hopeful. But a lot of people are feeling kind of lost and not sure exactly what it is that they need to do with the new things that we're facing that look like they're going to be permanent, at least for the time being, and just kind of navigating through the whole process. People are feeling boxed in. Every day at Growth Unlimited, we get phone calls from people who are looking for a way to get out of their box. And so Growth Unlimited is announcing a brand new program designed specifically to help you learn the skills and brush up on the things that you need to do to be able to take control of your life and get out of that box. We are announcing a webinar, a free webinar, where we're going to explain this whole program to you and help you decide whether it's something that is going to work to make your life the way you want it to be. I have put the link to register for that free webinar, and it's free. It's an hour-long presentation with a question and answer period after it that will allow you to check things out and decide whether this is something that you want to do with your life. Remember, it's your life. Have it your way. We can help you take control. So register for the webinar now, and I will see you over on the other side. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.